Hello folks, this is Singing Toad, and today what I'd like to talk about is my Buck 119 special. This is going to be my first sort of review video, if you can call it that. One thing I want to get out of the way right off the bat is that my channel is not going to be a knife review channel, or review channel of anything for that matter, but more just me telling stories about things that I like and, what I might like about something, why I own something, why I bought something, how I got it, so on and so forth, and my experiences of it. Not so much, regurgitating facts and spitting out information about things. If that's what you're into, this is not the channel to be looking at. There are much better channels out there on YouTube that will do that for you. So getting that disclaimer out of the way, I'll carry on forward. So this is my Buck 119 special. I've had this knife an incredibly long time. In fact, I've had this since I was 16 years old, and I'm pushing 40 now, so I'm getting up there in age, and I've certainly had this knife a long, long time. It's been a trusty companion of mine, and it's been with me on a lot of camping and fishing and hunting trips, and I just want to kind of tell my story about it. So first thing, if you might notice here, the sheath is kind of beaten up. Well, it's because it's been used. This isn't a safe queen. This isn't a knife that, sits in a display case, never used. This knife gets used. It has been used, and you can see by the scarring and scratching all over it. It's been used and loved. Okay, so I'll go ahead and just quickly, pull this out of the sheath here as I knock my camera equipment all around. I'll just set that back there for now. So we'll take a quick look at it here. So I don't know how well you can see that. Buck 119 USA. And let's bring it down so you can see it all the way in the frame here. Alright, and what I want to do, just for those of you who are not familiar with the Buck 119, just a quick size comparison here. So we have the Spyderco Delica 4. So as you can see, actually let's just flip this around this way so it's, you can kind of get a better idea of the size there. So that's a Delica 4. And we're just going to quickly bring in a Mora Companion. And this is in the orange. Alrighty, so just a quick little size comparison there for you. Alright, so moving on. So what can I tell you about this knife that you don't already know from the internets? Well, like I mentioned before, I got this knife when I was 16 years old as a gift from my folks. I've had it a number of years, and like I said, it's been with me on many camping and fishing trips. You can see by all the scarring on the blade here, and whatnot. I mean, this knife has been used and abused and loved by me. When I was 16, I did all kinds of silly things with it. I took it out in the bush and whacked it against trees, shoved it into tree stumps, threw it at things, did all kinds of dumb things that you should never do with a knife. And but yet it has survived. Also, you might be able to tell here, but if you look very closely, you can see here that the edge of the blade is back from the edge of the ricasso. That's because this knife has been sharpened many times. Okay, this is not the original factory edge. I've had this knife both professionally sharpened and later in life when I got good at knife sharpening, I sharpened it myself. And at this moment in time, it has a 20-degree edge on it. So anyway, I just wanted to present this knife here just to show you something that I really love, and just tell you a little bit about it, and that I really like it. So anyway, that's going to be my first ever knife video on my channel as a individual knife review, or story, I guess. I shouldn't really call it a review because this isn't really a review. I'm not going to tell you about the specs and how much it weighs and what materials it's made from and who made it and all that jazz. That's just more of me showing this knife that I have, and the fact that I really like it. And this knife does hold a special place in my heart because it was the very first knife that I received that was a proper knife. up until this point in time, when I was prior to 16, all the knives I owned, they were all just kind of like flea market type knives. They were just cheap, sidewalk commando-y type knives. That I would get from flea markets that I'd order at the back of a Black Belt magazine or something like that. You know, they were not anything that were of good quality. And this was the first knife that was, an American-made knife made of a high-quality 420 HC blade steel, which I know by today's standards is laughable. But back in those days, this was a high-dollar knife. And actually, if I do quite remember, back when I was, 16 when this knife was around, or brand new, it was in the Canadian Tire catalog for around 100 Canadian dollars, which was a lot of money back in those days. Nowadays people think, they spend $200, $300, $400 on the latest, greatest Spyderco Benchmade, and they think nothing of it. And some super crazy super steel like S20V or X121 or M4 or something like that. But back in the day, the 420HC was, the creme de la creme, and the Buck definitely did an excellent, and still does today, to the Paul Boss heat treat. Even though this is a relatively unremarkable blade steel, it definitely holds an edge for a long, long time, and many, many hunters and fishermen and outdoorsmen have carried this 119 model, and many, many deer and moose and elk have been skinned out. Many game have been processed by this very same knife here. So it definitely does what it's meant to do. It's not a full tang knife. It is a rat tail tang. It only comes into about here somewhere. I do believe. It's not really a knife that you'd want to baton through wood or chop a tree down with. Even though I can tell you right now, when I was 16, I tried these things with it, and it did hold up. And one little tidbit for you. Anyone who knows of Les Stroud, the Survivor Man, this is actually the model of the knife that he carried in the first season of the Survivor Man series. This knife was with him, and he did a lot of surviving type things with the Buck 119. So, can it be a survival knife? Absolutely. Would I recommend it? I don't know. I think today there are many better options out there as a survival knife, but. You can still buy these guys at your local Walmarts, Canadian Tire, many other big box stores sell them. They're only like $50 nowadays, Canadian dollars that is. Now mine does come with the nice leather sheath. There is a cheaper version that comes with a nylon sheath, and there's a more expensive version that actually comes with like a real fancy wood handle, and it comes in gold finish and a nice soft brown leather sheath. I think that one's called the limited model or the premier model. I forget what it's called exactly. So you can get a more upgraded version if you wish, but this guy is nice and comfortable in the hand, and again, gets the job done. I really like it. It's a great around the camp knife, great hunting knife. You can't go wrong with a Buck. And anyway, that's basically all I have to say about that. So thank you very much for watching, folks. And stay tuned to my channel. I'm going to be presenting more knives and other things. It's not always going to be all knives, but just other things I find interesting and things I want to present. And I do want to give a shout out to the Big Canucker. I do like his channel. He's trying to get to 1,000 subs. Please, folks, go sub to his channel. He's a great guy, and let's get him to 1,000 subs for his goal of 2021. Thanks, folks. Singing Toad signing out. Bye.